What up nerds, welcome back to the Nerd Dimension. Today I'm going to go through my build for Outriders. I'm using the Trickster. I went with a damage per second shotgun build. And last night I was able to do tier 15, the most hardest difficulty expedition. And it was Boomtown, and we completed it in 4 minutes. I'll add the gameplay for that at the end of the video. Now let's get into this build and check it out. So starting off with my weapons. In fact, no, I'll start with the armor. So I went with bonus firepower, close range damage, and cooldown reduction on everything, on all my pieces of gear, and maximize all three abilities. On my hat, I've got the buckshot shells, which increases my shotgun damage by 10%, and then the instant reload. Teleporting instantly reloads your gun. However, see, so that gives me, using the skill, twisted rounds, that gives me basically infinity twisted round. Now, you don't need to be conscious of running out of ammo, because when you teleport and you've got zero ammo, he'll go to reload, but see if you melee or throw your Venator's knife while he's reloading, if he's reloading after you teleport, it will instantly refill, and it will still be the twisted rounds, maximizing your damage throughout the entire expedition. So we've got all the bonus firepower, close range, cooldown, all the attribute stats pumped up to max. We've got the Vagrant's Coat, the same thing, bonus firepower, close range damage, and cooldown reduction. Except with this, I've got Hunt the Prey, so that decreases the cooldown by 20%. I want that cooling down as fast as possible so I can continue to keep my twisted rounds and infinite ammo and never have to reload. And then Mitigation from Death, which of course gives me armor, stacks up to, how many times? It stacks up to 3 times. So that helps me with survivability. My armor's only 51k, which this Fortress mod, you receive 45% damage based on your armor, but it caps at 50. So before I had my armor at 108, but it never made a difference. So I swapped it out, and then having a mitigation from death on gives me that little bit more survivability. But also, my death shield has weapon life leech and dark sacrifice. So that dark sacrifice, yesterday I was using Killing Spree, then I put that on to try it out with one expedition, and you guessed it, that expedition was Boomtown, and my damage shot right up. There was a Pyro on my team, but there was a Technomancer that we were basically carrying, and me and the Pyromancer were getting round about the same damage at the end of every expedition. So I don't know if he was buffing me or debuffing the enemies or whatever, but this build, the way I've got it right now, is absolutely phenomenal. And my secondary, so the Killing Spree, obviously, you get extra bonus firepower stacking whenever you kill, but this Dark Sacrifice just takes half your health and boosts it by 75%. And because I'm getting so much healing from my mitigation from death and also my weapon life leech with a shotgun, I don't even notice my 50% health missing. I've just increased my damage so much. Couldn't be happier with it. And that Hunt the Prey, decreasing that cooldown, just the Hunt the Prey comes back rapid, and then you can just keep teleporting. Maneuverability, shooting them in the back. I've got the bonus, 20% bonus for shooting elites and other enemies in the back, so it works out pretty well. Moving on to my pants, same again, bonus firepower, cooldown, and close range, except I've got Venator's Knife, so I use Venator's Knife and Hunt the Prey and Twisted Rounds. Very great crowd control, slows them down, also damages them. Depending on what mods you've got, it could be better, it could be worse, but mine could be better, but it's good enough for this build and works perfectly with my playstyle. But anyway, that gives it increases the range between the targets by 25%, so it's got that extra range to bounce between when it's ricocheting. So if there's not a lot of ads around me, it's just maybe one elite, I'll throw that a bit further, an ad's coming, it will still get him instead of him avoiding it. Do you know what I mean? Which has happened on many occasions. But Sharp Eye, killing enemies while aiming down sight, grants you extra firepower for 20 seconds and can stack up to 3 times. So that mixed with Mitigation of Death and Fortress and Dark Sacrifices, you're just you're just stacking damage, stacking so much damage. And that shotgun's already got 179k firepower, 10% bonus from the buckshot shells, and then with the killing spree, I'm just a damage dealing badass. Plus, with the teleportation and slowing them down, like, I absolutely love the Trickster. The gameplay's so fun. Same again on the gloves. I only got these gloves last night. Before I was using the cannonball gloves. Had two good mods on it. The Captain Hunter and the Personal Space. 25% extra damage against elites and extra damage depending on how many enemies are around you, basically, in proximity. But I changed to this, put Bloodlust on, again, increases my firepower, stacking with the Sharp Eye and the Fortress and the Dark Sacrifice. So pretty damn good, man, pretty damn good. That Shield Zap was the only tier 2 mod that seemed decent enough out of the 3 it gave me to choose from, because I knew I was adding Bloodlust to this, and it had a slow trap mod on it, which I don't use slow trap in this build, so I got rid of that. But I mean, the shield zap just adds a little bit extra damage, plus it's cool when the lightning effect appears, so why not? But personally, I would rather have either a Venator's Knife or a Hunt the Prey mod in place of that, or maybe even a Twisted Rounds one. The extra, oh, I don't need the extra mag. Maybe the vulnerability, the extra armor piercing, or decreases the resistance elites and stuff. Like, any one of them would be good, but on this I've got the interrupt and inflict weakness to enemies that you teleport behind, and the Twisted Rounds, so that's got the also an additional 15% when I activate the Twisted Rounds, stacking up with all these other damaging mods, and as well as me never running out of ammo, which means I never run out of Twisted Rounds. I always have that 15% boost, as well as the stacking bonuses that I'm getting from all the other mods I have equipped. So overall, this Trickster build is fantastic. I'm so happy with it. I was struggling for a long time to even hit 100 million. I was getting 30 million on a good game, 45 million, but I've exceeded that now. I'm hitting 300 million, 200 million, 150, just depending on the expedition and who I'm playing with. But I'll move on to my secondary. The Juggler, I bought this off Tiago. I don't use it. I don't use it at all. I've had many different guns in that second slot. I've got so many legendary guns in my stash, but I'll give you a look at them in a second. But I don't even use that. It's just there as a secondary. This gives me everything I've got, everything I need, and I never run out of ammo the way I've set this build up. The pistol, that anomaly enhancement, because it's a passive build, it increases my firepower up to 30% of my anomaly. So 30% of 44k is added to my firepower, which is also a bonus. It just keeps stacking and adding to every other mod that's making my damage as high as I can put it. But if there's one thing I could change, it would be that shield zap. But it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it works out. But I'll show you my skill tree now. That's all my armor and gear though, and the mods I'm currently using. It may change in the future, but I'm pretty happy with this build right now. And after testing it out a bit more and using it, I've got other pieces to make a anomaly build and a different playstyle with that, so I can chop and change between the two. So I'm going to start working on that soon enough. And once I've got an anomaly build Trickster that can just absolutely dominate tier 15 expeditions, and a DPS shotgun build that can just dominate, which I've already got, that can dominate tier 15 expeditions, then I'm going to start a new game, start a new campaign. I'm picking the Pyro. I've had a long think about it. Like, the Devastator looks cool. My mates used the Technomancer pretty much the entire time we've played, so I've seen a lot of that, and I don't know, whenever a Pyro joins me, I find it exciting. I think his abilities look cool. It just looks like a really badass class to go. So after I'm done with my Trickster, Pyro next. But let's take a look at my skill tree. So I went with the Assassin class. I took the close range weapon damage. Again, I'm always teleporting and using a shotgun, so it's all about close range. Armor piercing, more close range, more weapon damage. So again, I'm just trying to stack my damage as high as possible, and with that mitigation of death and the weapon life leech on my shotgun, it gives me the survivability I need with all this increased damage, because usually you would have all this but you'd be dead squishy, so you'd want to avoid getting hit at all costs. But I'm constantly getting shield when I'm using my abilities, constantly getting health when I'm shooting with the shotgun and killing people, and then with all the increases and buffs, it just stacks and stacks, and I just melt enemies. So I've always got full shield and full health pretty much all the time, as long as I don't do anything stupid. So the build is pretty badass, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. Another increased crit damage, increased close range, increased damage after using movement skills. So I'm using Hunt the Prey every 2 minutes. So that again buffs up my damage, stacking onto everything else that buffs it up. More close range, more activation on deception skill increases my weapon damage by 35% for 8 seconds. So more weapon damage when I use any of those skills. Usually I'll use Hunt the Prey, teleport behind them, throw my Venator's knife, and then I'll just start shooting with my twisted rounds, and things like Broodmothers last 4 seconds, 5 seconds, like, just depends though, but they go down hard fast. Had enough armor piercing, I thought, so I went with the cooldown, rather they spawn quicker. Shooting from behind, that's another bonus, so I'm always teleporting behind them. I've got that 20% increase as well as everything else. Weapon damage and close range damage, again, I just want as much damage as possible. Then again, decrease the cooldown. So I've got the 20% mod and the 15% there, and it comes back. I don't even need to think about it. Just as soon as I'm about to run out of ammo, or I do run out of ammo, teleport, Venator's knife or melee, bang, 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 infinite twisted rounds. It's absolutely brilliant. It's such a fun playstyle. That's another one. That's the behind one right there. Increased weapon damage against elites by 15%. Just makes big guys go down so easy. Magazine size 50%. So you need that 100%. That death shield only has 10 bullets. That puts it up to 15, which is a massive improvement. Like, such a benefit. I went with the shotgun damage, of course, again, and then finally for each weapon the damage was increased. So just complete destructive damage, just high numbers. I had crit stack on before, I had other mods, but just slightly tweaking it and changing them and keeping everything as it is here with this gear. I like to wear it without the hat so it doesn't look as bad, but he's a badass cool outrider, futuristic space cowboy. But all that said, that's my Trickster build. I'm going to move on to the Anomaly build, and then I'll be starting my Pyro. Leave a comment down below if you think there's anything I can do to increase or improve this build in any way. I will be keeping an eye out for pieces of gear that I could tweak and change, maybe for a better cosmetic look or for a better second mod, but I'm pretty happy with the mods that I've got on most of these, except I would like to change that shield zap. But it is what it is. It still comes in handy because I'm always activating shield anyway every time I use a skill. So I teleport behind somebody, the shield zap activates. Anyway, leave a comment down below if there's any improvements that you think I could make. Leave a comment down below and tell me about your Trickster build. And follow us on Instagram at the Nerd Dimension 89. Check us out on Twitch at the Nerd Dimension. And thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Here's the footage of us doing Boomtown in 4 minutes.
I got something I need a hand with. Some inbred bandits have taken the road between Trench and Dead Rock. At first, they were just robbing and killing folks, but now their crazy leader, some Dr. Detonator, he's taking them hostage. I can't have that shit on my doorstep. It's real bad for business.
noise. It's like I've wandered into some maniac's idea of a party. Bridget, look at that. This constant. The leader's taken care of. Your pass is clear. Where'd these bandits come from anyway?
They were insurgents. Defected to our side months ago.
Came to know.